So good evening, everyone. Officially, welcome to our first in a 6-week course on meditation. And we'll just let in a latecomer. And the whole concept of this 6 weeks really is to use techniques to enhance your ability to meditate. Sorry, some people are just turning up. Hi, Anya. Hi, Christina. So yeah, so the idea is using techniques to enhance your ability to meditate, and then also just go over some real basics, being as this is the first one in a 6-week course. And it's also good to, you know, sometimes go back to the basics and get a deeper understanding of even the foundations to meditation, really. So as you all probably know by now, in yoga, it's 8-folded path. The first 2 parts are kind of like the commandments of the way to live your life and the things to do and not to do. Third part is the yoga poses that we know so well on the mat. Then there's pranayama, the breathing techniques. And then we start to come into the realms of meditation. We have pratyahara, which is the withdrawal of the senses. Then we have dharana, which is this one-pointed focusedness and concentration. And then we have what they call dhyana, which is meditation. And meditation isn't something that you can be taught, to be honest. Meditation is only something that you can experience. But you can be taught the techniques to help you achieve meditation. So meditation isn't sort of sitting cross-legged and dwelling on the past or problems that you may have. Meditation isn't even contemplation on, you know, trying to find a deeper answer to a question. Meditation is about going beyond duality, if you like, and I talk a lot about duality in my classes. So we live in a dualistic reality where there's night and day, there's male and female, there's you know, an end, a beginning. Sorry, just letting a few more latecomers in. There's a beginning and there's an end. So there's this constant duality. There's this constant yin and yang flow. And meditation is about going beyond that duality to a point where we're beyond our thinking brain. So our thinking brain, as I've said many times, is our kind of ego brain. The thinking brain is what thinks that what we see is real. And as I've said in many of my talks, that your brain takes in only 3% information, and then you conceptualize it and filter it and adapt it to how you perceive your world to be. And 97% of the reality is the way your brain interprets it, normally on past experiences, which is why 2 people can go out and have the same day, and one will have hated it and one will have liked it, because our perception is everything. And meditation and yoga is all about raising our awareness up through the chakras so that we start to see beyond what we think is physical, what we think is right, what we think is wrong, and see things for their true nature, and know that nothing is sustainable from its own side. Everything is just a conceptualized idea. And as you know, I love the teapot analogy of what is a teapot, and we've spent hours trying to answer that question, and we come to the conclusion that a teapot is a teapot because we say it's a teapot. You know, a watering can is a watering can because we say it's a watering can. And so when we meditate, we're trying to link to this all-knowing consciousness that is behind the thinking brain. So we're kind of leaving the ego and the thinking brain behind and trying to see what's behind that veil, if you like. And we do that by withdrawing the senses. So we try and shut off the 5 senses. We develop this ability to concentrate, and that concentration becomes like the spearhead of an arrow that is the vehicle for the awareness, that takes that awareness deep into the mind so that you can see beyond that conceptualized thinking ego brain to this more omnipresent consciousness, if you like. And we know that there's something more knowing behind the brain, the thinking brain, because we know we're thinking. And just the concept of that, you know, you're thinking must mean that there's something knowing that you're thinking, so that we know that there's something beyond it. And all the sages throughout time have taught so many different techniques. So we're going to be looking at some of these techniques that can be used to help withdraw the senses and use our energy, because I'm a great one for working with the energy, to enhance our ability to meditate. So I said that meditation is going into a timeless zone. And for those that, you know, might not have heard me talk about time before, time isn't as linear as we think it is. And Western physicists now know that time is all happening at once. And really, we just live in these little temporal bubbles of time. And we perceive time as being something linear, probably because of the way our brain, its mechanics is structured. So, you know, our brain is hardwired to perceive time as a linear concept, just like your laptop hard drive is wired to see Windows and Word perfect as it is, and not read it and look at it in a different way. And so we know time isn't this structured thing that we you know, first think of it as, because if you take two watches and set them to the same time, take one into an aeroplane and fly it around, the one that comes back down on the aeroplane will be ahead of the one that stayed on Earth, because gravity affects the speed of time. When we look at the stars and say we're looking at the stars now, we're not really in the now, because the light that we're seeing from the stars was reflected through space at the time when the dinosaurs roamed the planet, and it's taken that long to get to us. So time isn't this hard concept that, you know, we first perceive. When we look at being in a place where there is non-duality, so there isn't yin and yang, there isn't male and female, there isn't night and day, then there isn't time. So meditation takes us to this timeless space. So the way we can enhance our meditation is trying to balance the yin and the yang, the two opposites, to create harmony, so that we go into a deeper meditation where time and space don't exist, and we enter this state of meditation. And we can affect this yin and yang energy within our body by doing alternate nostril breathing. So we have these two nadi, these two meridians, energy channels, called the Ida and the Pingala. So the Ida is like the yin energy and the Pingala is the yang energy, and they flow up the body, and where they cross is where the chakra points are, which we discussed in full in the last sessions. And by balancing these two energies, we then awaken the core Sushumna channel, this core energetic channel that the Kundalini rises up. And this is the secret. The Sushumna channel is the eater of time. So as the Kundalini rises up, we leave this idea of dualistic time, and we enter this kind of void where the meditation happens in that more omnipresent consciousness. So we can affect our Ida and Pingala Nadi, because as they cross up, they end at the third eye. So the Ida, the Pingala, and the Nadi that goes from the third eye to the pineal gland all merge to create the Sushumna channel, which the Kundalini rises up. So by doing alternate nostril breathing through the right and left nostrils, we balance out these two energies. And so when they're more balanced and in harmony, it allows us to do our deeper meditation. So we all know that we've tried to meditate at one point and fallen asleep. And that's because the Ida energy is more prevalent, and it's that relaxing, sedative energy, and we feel sleepy and we fall asleep. Or our mind has been too active and it's like we've got ADHD and our brain is all over the place, jumping from one branch to the next. And so the Pingala energy, the yang energy, is too prevalent. So when we create this balance, we have the ability to have a much deeper meditation. And because we've just had the new year, and many of us probably have had a drink, I thought what might be quite nice is to go right into the deep end of doing Shodhananda, alternate nostril breathing, and do a purification ratio of this energy to begin with, and then bring the energy to balance. So we're going to kind of, everybody likes a detox in the new year. So this is almost like a detox energetically. So this ratio is a purification ratio. So when we think about the breath, we have the in-breath, the breath retention, so holding the in-breath. We have the out-breath, and then we have the out-breath retention before we breathe in. So we have these 4 parts to the breath. So to balance these energies, we would make each of those parts equal. So if you take, say, 4 seconds to breathe in, you hold your breath for 4 seconds, you breathe out for 4 seconds, you wait 4 seconds before you breathe back in and start again. So that would balance your breath. But what we're going to do is a purification ratio. So the purification ratio is 1, 2, 4, 1. So if you breathe in for 4, you hold your breath for 8, you breathe out for 16, and then you hold your breath for 4 before you breathe back in. Now, if that ratio is too big, then you can breathe in for 3, hold for 6, breathe out for 12, wait for 3 before you breathe back in. Now, like I say, we're going right in at the deep end with this Shodhananda, because normally we start off, with just gentle alternate nostril breathings and build up our lung capacity and our breath. So don't worry if you find that you're straining to maybe breathe out for 18 or 16. The one thing you must never do in pranayama is strain your breath. So we're aiming at this ratio, but we're not going to beat ourselves up if we don't quite meet it, okay? So it might be that you don't quite breathe out for 16, or you don't quite hold the out breath for as long as you held, as you took in breath, because not breathing straight back in after you breathed out is really the hardest bit, I think, for most people, because it's almost like it kicks in anxiety because you're preventing yourself from breathing. So that one can be a little bit difficult. So I just want you to do your best. So probably good to have a tissue handy. Now, I'm going to just talk you through 2 rounds of just doing Shodhananda. So breathing in, holding your breath, breathing out, breathing back in. And then we're going to try and do this ratio. I'm going to aim for 4, breathing in, holding for 8, breathing out for 16, waiting for 4 before you breathe in. Like I say, if you want to reduce that to 3, you can. So it'll be 3, 6, 12, 3. Or you might do some of them correctly and one of them you don't quite manage. Again, absolutely fine. So we'll start off with 2 just rounds of getting into the rhythm of doing alternate nostril breathing. And then we're going to go for this big purification ratio. Has anyone got any questions about anything I've just sort of said? No? Oh, I'm getting off lightly. Brilliant. So I'm going to take my glasses off for this one. We always use our right hand when we're doing alternate nostril breathing, okay? And the way I like to do it is to take my index finger and middle finger and place it on my third eye. So then you can use your right thumb to close your right nostril and your ring finger to close your left nostril, okay? So if you close your right nostril with your thumb and just breathe in through your left nostril See how long it takes you to breathe in, and then close your left nostril. Just hold your breath. And then open your right nostril and breathe out. Long, slow, deep exhalation through the nose. And then close the right nostril and just see if you can pause before you breathe back in by releasing the right thumb, breathing in through the right nostril, closing the nostril, holding the breath before releasing the left nostril and breathing out. So that's one round. So breathe in through the left nostril. Again, close the left nostril, hold the breath. Breathe out through the right nostril. Close the right nostril. Breathe out through the left nostril. Close the left nostril. So now we're going to try that ratio. Breathe in through the left nostril. 1, 2, 3, 4. Close. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Close the nostril. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Release the right nostril. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Close the nostril. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Release the left nostril. Breathe out for 16. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Close. 1, 2, 3, 4. Open the left nostril. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Close. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Close. Breathe out through the right nostril. 16. Close the nostril. Hold for 8. Breathe out through the left nostril for 8. Close the left nostril. Open the left nostril. Breathe in for 4. Close the left nostril. Hold for 8. Open the right nostril. Breathe out for 16. Close the right nostril. Hold for 4. Open the right nostril. Breathe in for 4. Close the nostril. Hold for 8. Open the left nostril, breathe out for 16. Close, hold for 4, last round. Open the left nostril, breathe in for 4. Close, hold for 8. Breathe out through the right nostril for 16. Close the right nostril, wait for 4. Open the right nostril, breathe in for 4. Close the nostril, hold for 8. Open the left nostril, breathe out for 16. Close the left nostril for 4. And then release your hand and take a deep breath in. Okay, so I know that's a really difficult ratio for a lot of people, but I thought because of this purification idea, it might be quite nice to do to really cleanse those energetic channels. Because I often think that when things are out of balance, they never go back into balance like this. When things are out of balance, they tend to have to go to another extreme and detox before they can again find balance. So sometimes a little bit of purification is good to achieve then a balance. So we've cleansed those nostrils, we've opened up those pathways. For our meditation, as I said, we want them to be balanced. So I just want you to try this and see for yourselves whether you think this works. If you take your right hand and put your fingers right up into your left armpit and hold it so that your fingers are pushing up into your left armpit, you'll notice, or you should notice, that it stimulates you to breathe in through your right nostril. So this has been scientifically proven that the nerves are stimulated here under the left armpit to make you breathe more dominantly through your right nostril, okay? And then if you swap sides, you should find that when you just breathe naturally, you notice maybe that you're breathing more now through your left nostril. So all through the day, we have these rhythms of the body, and we breathe predominantly through one nostril more, and then after about 90 minutes, we tend to swap and breathe through the opposite nostril, and we fluctuate. And our whole body is geared up to these rhythmical cycles with night and day. The pineal gland, as we know, is the third eye chakra inside the head, looks like a little cone and has what we call cone receptors, the same as in the eye, that are affected by light. And the pineal gland is all to do with our circadian rhythms and our monthly cycles, and for men, our 72-day cycles. So working the pineal gland, the third eye chakra, the Ida and the Pingala, directly stimulates this as well, and trying to get everything to balance so that we have this deeper meditation and this higher awareness of the third eye chakra is really powerful. So what we're going to do now is do both armpits at the same time, so it balances our breathing through the left and right nostril. And we're just going to sit with our fingertips underneath our armpits, and you can just close your eyes. I just want you to breathe, just for like, we'll just do it for a minute or two, and it will just balance out the breathing of the left and right nostrils. So we're now just balancing the Ida and the Pingala, the yin and the yang. And again, you can gently relax your hands. So with meditation, there are a few pitfalls, and the obvious ones to begin with are that we feel uncomfortable in our sitting position, and when we start to close off our sensory side, you know, our sight and our hearing, we become more focused on what we're feeling and our body, and we think, oh, I've got pain in my knee, I've got pain in my back, and that can kind of detract from our meditation. And so we're constantly trying not to think about that. And of course, as soon as you try not to think about something, your brain is like a naughty child and thinks about it even more. So the way we can kind of overcome this is by working with the brain to begin with and going, okay, let's think about that pain in the knee. And as soon as you start to really focus your awareness onto the pain in your knee, your mind will want to drift to something else. And so a nice way to kind of take yourself into a deeper meditation is to sometimes take your mind into your body to begin with, so that it can then become more focused on what it is that you're meditating on. So we're going to do a nice kind of, how can I put it, kind of like a little starting journey in doing that for our formal meditation. But for those that are new to my meditation sessions, our formal meditation is nearly always on the breath. The reason it's on the breath is because we are all aware that we breathe constantly all day, but as soon as we think about our breathing, we can take control of our breathing. And this breathing connects to our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So it's a way for us to kind of connect to our nervous system. And our nervous system at a physical level is the spinal cord, and at an energetic level is this Shumnai channel. So we're stimulating our nervous system for a start by becoming aware of the breath. We can't breathe in the past and we can't breathe in the future. So again, the breath brings us directly into the moment. So I think it's a really good point to have our concentration. So our one-pointed focusedness is on the breath. To know that we're concentrating, I suggest that when you breathe out, you count 1. And then the second time you breathe out, you count 2, and you get to 10. And then when you get to 10, you go back and start again at 1. So every time you breathe out, you count 1, 2, 3, you get to 10 and you come back. And then that way, you know, you're concentrating. What will happen is all of a sudden you'll become aware that you're not concentrating, that you're not counting. And when you become aware that you're not counting, that's really good because you've had mindfulness. You've become aware of what you're thinking about. So that's a good thing. So don't beat yourself up thinking, oh God, I'm not thinking about counting. I've let my mind drift. You've had awareness. That's what we want. So you just come back to the counting. So the counting is just a tool to help develop our ability to concentrate and know that we're staying aware of what we've decided to be aware of, which in this case is our breath. At certain points along your meditation journey, you can leave the counting to one side and just focus on watching the breath. But if you find that your concentration isn't great that day, then by all means come back to the counting. So the counting is really good for beginners, but after a while you'll want to leave it. And also because we're not having that internal dialogue, the counting in a way is almost like internal dialogue. So we don't want to eventually be doing that. What else do I want to say about our formal breathing meditation? Don't try and control your breath. The whole idea here is that we're observing. We're observing, and we're observing as if we're a detached observer. So we don't have an opinion. We don't conceptualize our breath. We don't think, oh, that was a deep breath. That was a long breath. That was a short breath. Oh, I yawned. Just try and observe the breath without kind of conceptualizing and thinking about the breath, just being aware that you're breathing. So instead of being in the river of your breath, you're sitting on the banks, watching the river flow by. And you'll notice that as you become more and more aware of your breath, your breathing will get slower and slower and more shallow. And that's normal. So don't worry if that begins to happen. That is a normal part of becoming aware of the breath. So that will happen. So don't let that make you fearful. Oh, I'm not breathing properly. Has anyone got any other questions about observing the breath? Okay, great. So again, you're just going to observe the breath. You're going to count. We're counting the out breaths because that's becoming a little bit more aware of letting go, which is always good in meditation. We kind of want to let go of everything. So what I suggest now is that you come into your chosen meditation position. And that doesn't have to be cross-legged. You know, you don't have to sit there like some swami in the lotus position. You can sit on a bolster in Sesar. You can sit on a chair. The main thing is that your spine is quite upright so that this Kundalini energy can flow easily up and you haven't got postural blocks, let alone energetic blocks. So you do want to kind of be sitting upright. You can lie down if you've got spinal problems or MS or anything like that. You can do it lying down. The only problem with lying down is we associate lying down with going to sleep, and we meditation isn't about falling asleep. It's about being even super aware. So you don't want to kind of lay down and then feel like you want to fall asleep every time you meditate. So you want to be upright, but you want to be comfortable. And you don't want to be looking up. You don't want to be looking down too much. Again, the neck and the head just wants to be perched, balanced with maybe a gentle gaze. Some people teach you to meditate with your eyes open. I find for beginners that can be quite distracting because, again, it's that sensory input and we're trying to withdraw the senses. So some people just have like a soft eyelid where the eyelids are half closed. But again, that can make you feel a little bit sleepy doing that. So maybe just for beginners, start with your eyes closed. And I'm going to talk you through this kind of almost like somatic sensory beginning of going through the body. And then at a certain point, I'm going to talk you into becoming aware of the breath. And then I'm just going to leave you to focus and sit with an awareness of your breath. And I will be your clock, so you don't have to worry about the time. And we're probably going to spend about 10 minutes focused on the breathing. Okay, so just a nice little beginning session of focusing on the breath itself in our formal meditation. So if everyone would like to come into their comfortable sitting positions, and we'll begin. So we've balanced our Ida and Pingala. And just bring your awareness down to where your body meets the earth, meets your mat, your cushion, your seat, where the earth, your seat rises to support you. And then just feel your abdomen relax. Your shoulders relax. Become aware of your jaw. Feel your jaw relax. Feel the space behind the eyes soft. Feel the forehead soft, not furrowed. And the space in front of the eye soft and relaxed. And then just take your awareness back down to your seat. And imagine your legs like roots growing into the earth. So you feel strong, stable, grounded. So we have this unmovable posture. And then take your mind to any part of your body where you feel any pain or discomfort, any tension. And just become aware of that part of your body. Maybe imagine that part of your body just breathing into that area. Rather than trying not to think about it. Bring your awareness fully into that area, your knee, your lower back. Anywhere you feel pain, tension, discomfort. And just take your mind to your right foot. Become aware of your right foot. Become aware of your left foot. Become aware of your right knee, your left knee, your right thigh, your left thigh, your right hand, your left hand, your right forearm, left forearm. I'm aware of your right elbow. Take your mind to your left elbow. Your right upper arm, left upper arm, your right shoulder, your left shoulder, your chest, your upper abdomen, your lower abdomen, the whole of your right leg, the whole of your left leg, your right arm, your left arm, the whole of your head, whole of your torso, the whole of your body. Then just begin to bring your awareness to the tips of the nostrils, if you're breathing through the nose or the lips, through the mouth. And now not controlling the breath. We're going to observe the breath. Just watching the breath. 10 minutes. I will be your clock. The ebb and flow. Counting the out breath. your own time, and bring your awareness back into the visual space, back into the moment. Excellent. So yeah, just to recap, the whole kind of message I was trying to get across today is that, you know, the pineal gland has these cone and rod cells in, which are the same as the eyes, which are light sensitive. And it's the pineal gland that controls our body cycles and regulates our bodily rhythms. And we have this bodily rhythm of breathing in through the right nostril on average for about 90 minutes, and then we swap to the left. And we find that during that moment of when we swap is an ideal time to meditate, when we get the most from our meditation. But of course, we're not aware very often of this swapping. We don't even notice. And I know for 20 odd years, I had my right nostril completely blocked by a deviated septum. So, you know, if you have trouble breathing in and out through the nostrils, just the intent of trying to breathe in and out through different nostrils will allow you to start to take control of these rhythms and allow you to balance this yin and yang, Ida, Pingala energy pathway that will awaken the Sushumna channel so that the Kundalini rises up. What else was I going to say? So yeah, so that was the whole idea. Now, you don't want to be playing around with these rhythms unless you're doing it so that you can enhance your meditation. So it isn't like something you'd want to be doing throughout the day, kind of messing around with the alternate nostril breathing, because your body has its own natural pattern. The 90 minutes on average changes whether we're in a relaxed environment, a stressed environment. So the only time we want to start manipulating these rhythms is when we want to go into a deeper meditation. So it's okay to do, you know, when you're doing your yoga and you do a little bit of pranayama or before your meditation. And there we want to kind of just balance the breathing in and out. So you can do the alternate Shodhananda, alternate nostril breathing, or you can just sit for a couple of minutes with your hands underneath your armpits. So it stimulates both nostrils to breathe equally. And then that will enhance your meditation. A lot of people will say to me, you know, should I do meditation in between the sessions? And yeah, the idea is that these sessions are to encourage you to meditate, to teach you techniques, to enhance your meditation. But like I say, no one can actually teach you to experience meditation. That is just a personal journey that comes with practice. And the nicest way, I think, to do it is to set aside, if you can, 10, 20 minutes at a certain point in the day when you try and rigorously try and meditate. But it's also nice to have what we call a glimpse practice in Buddhism, where you just do a little bit of mindfulness or a minute to 5 minutes of meditation at like the corners of your day. So, you know, if you've got ready for work and all of a sudden you don't need to leave for 10 minutes, just sit and observe your breathing, or just sit and observe a tree, or whatever it is that you want to bring your one pointed focusedness on. But the breath is such a good one because it's right here in the moment. And in the moment, the ego can't exist. So that duality doesn't exist in the moment. So becoming aware of the breath and doing this kind of glimpse practice where you do a minute here and a minute there throughout your day is really nice. But it's also good to have a set time of day where you just try and practice for 10 minutes. And if it's really not happening for you in that 10 minutes and your brain is really just all over the place, then don't really push yourself hard to do it. Maybe leave it for that day and then try again. It's good to be a little bit rigorous and not just kind of go, oh, I'm not doing it today, my brain won't settle. But you have to find that balance. So try and have at least a sort of 10-minute practice throughout each day, and then little bits here and there, I think is really good. I'm gonna let you guys turn on your mics. I'm gonna turn off the record button, and then you guys can turn on your mics and ask any questions that you might have. I'll say to those watching it on the recording, namaste, and see you all soon.